Hello. 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 How many times? I wonder. I feel like there's three variations of the intros I do on stream, and it's hello, non sequitur, and that's it. Those are the those are the only way I start streams, whether it's art or oh, okay, one more. Puns. Related puns, because there's the non sequiturs, but then there's like the puns actually related to what we're doing. So, hello, non sequiturs, puns. Those are the four types of intros I do to stream, which is fun. I hope everyone out there in the wide world is doing all right today. Here's the thing. We're not going to talk about the election on the stream. You have my promise. Not going to happen. I will say four things. About it, and that will be all that is said about it on the stream. And those four things are: I hope everyone went to vote. Logically, I think it's going to be okay. I might throw up, and I think I sweated double my body weight at work today. I think between just constant sweating from physical activity and mental stress, and then rehydrating with with the good old work water cooler, I think I legitimately went through like two Cahill's. I was gonna say like one Cahill's worth of water twice, but just two Cahill's worth of water. So that's fun. But yeah, honestly, I probably was not going to at any point cancel stream unless I legitimately did vomit. In which case, I mean, fuck, I've been doing my best to stay in work, before my vacation and everything. But if I actually throw up, like, that's the week. I'm not gonna lie to you guys or my boss. That's happened at least once before from just stress and everything. But with like the specifics here, if I at any point vomit from stress or anything, that's the end of the week. We're calling it. And you might be like, it's only Tuesday, yeah, and it'll be the the first 2-day week in history. The only time a week was officially 2 days, because I've made it so that we take a solid 5-day weekend. But regardless, like I said, I hope everyone's doing well. We're gonna doodle. We're gonna do some little doodling. Hey dudes, it's me, Seuss. I feel like I just copy his cadence and saying dudes the way he does. But I don't actually think I really do a voice for Zeus. Hey bros, it's me, Zeus. That's not good. Recognize that. Let me not make people suffer any more than they might already be. Painful impressions. Which I think would be a new one. Hello? My pen is not working. What is happening? Something is wrong here. Something funny is happening here. That's weird. What the? None of my... Okay, well, we're gonna go to a pause screen real quick. Tell you what we're gonna do is we're gonna pause. And I'm just gonna straight up quit out of Clip Studio Paint real quick and try reloading it. That's weird. That's odd. Don't appreciate that. And gotta say, oh my goodness, as I was at work, just like looking at anything really, brain going a mile a minute for literally a million reasons, right? I saw on Blue Sky that, like, I don't know, someone somewhere had did a thing, and it was like, what's like the mood you use to create art, right? What's the feeling? And I did that, but it did not take long for me to realize that this was not like anything fancy. Like, I thought maybe, you know, it's like, oh, is this like some art, like, I mean, it is in many ways an artsy thing, but I was like, oh, is this like, you know, also it's working now, that's good. Is this some, you know, art thing some folks put together, some, you know, maybe an organization, an artist guild or of some kind put together? No, it was definitely one of like those BuzzFeed quizzes. I forget. I've definitely, there's a fucking video I've watched that has like the site name in it and everything, but there's a specific, I feel like it's where most of those kinds of quizzes lie, like a specific website where people make like personality quizzes and stuff like that is on there. I'm sure plenty of people, especially anyone who went to school in the age of the internet, I'm sure y'all know what I'm talking about, but fuck if I know the name for it. So here's the thing, I gotta make this guy mad. He's gonna be so mad. Oh goodness. I will not fib. I cannot lie, Sam. I am. I did, literally moments before stream started, I took some, I don't want to say like performance enhancing, but you know, I took a little something to help maybe, you know, just relax the brain. Like I said, between trips and everything else, going a mile a minute today. And I feel like, I've mentioned before, I don't like doing that. I've tried it before, and like it's really not my bag. I fear for when it happens, but I only took little something, and I don't know, probably better than like panic attacks, you know. Between the options of loopy Cahill and panicking Cahill, I feel like loopy is the better way to go. IMO. What else was I thinking of? Alright. So, speaking of like literally anything else. Speaking of literally anything else. Like, so on top of the trip I'm taking this weekend, right? On top of that, one thing that has come up recently is my fucking car. So don't tell my family what I'm about to tell you, chat, because they'll freak out. But my check engine light has come on twice now. Now, you might say, Cahill, twice? Did you take it to the mechanic? Here's the thing about it, and the thing is that when it came on for the first time, I was pretty upset, given that, you know, it's still like a decently new car, and fucking I feel like I'm not I don't want to be like, I got a new car so I wouldn't have to worry about it, because obviously that's not how that works. But fucking, I was just like, I'd hope I not have to worry about it for a while at least, you know. So I was just like, I don't even know when this was a while back at this point, right? And I was like, I don't even know when I can take this thing to like some mechanic or something. But I decided, since it's a new car that I hadn't gotten the oil changed in yet, I would just be like, you know what? I'll bring it to Jiffy Lube. I won't let them really touch it, because, you know, I've had a lot of personal friends and what have you be like, Cahill, don't ever like bite, don't ever go for the bait of like, you know, mechanics at a chain place or a car dealership. You know, they're always trying to upsell you, right? So I was like, okay, I'll get my oil changed. They'll probably be like, hey, something's busted, and I'll get that fixed somewhere else, right? And then I set a day for it after work, because I was just like, I think that's the time I can spare for this specific thing. I go into work that day, and the check engine light is still on, alright? I work a shift. I begrudgingly work a shift at my job, right? And then I, what was I thinking of? Then I leave, go to my car, get ready to go to Jiffy Lube, and the check engine light is not on anymore. Like, fuck if I know why, but it is, apparently the car has decided, no, we're okay. And I was like, I should still get my oil changed, but that'll wait for later. Okay, so then like some time goes by. Alright? To stress, a decent amount of time goes by. Okay? And my car's doing fine. I have admittedly not gotten the oil changed. But everything seems to be going well. Then like last week, I go out to my car early in the morning, getting ready for work, and oh my lord, is this not? Oh, okay, that makes sense. I'm like, what is happening here? Go out to my car to go to work in the wee hours of the morn. And what do I find but my check engine light on? I'm like, well, damn it. Should probably reinstate that plan I was going with before. You know? I'm trying to see what works best here. So I set a day, which is, believe it or not, I don't even know if I was thinking about this when I decided this like last week. I was like, you know what'll be a good day for that? Today, November 5th. So I'm like, okay, November 5th, we're going to go get my oil changed. I come out to the car this morning, check engine light on. Okay, alright, perfect. Going to the mechanics to get that checked out. I leave work today, the light is off. I don't know what is happening. So I did end up going to the mechanics, and they were just like, yeah, just get your oil changed. And I was like, okay. Like, that's fine. Still cost me a bit of money. Because I got some good oil. I let them upsell me a little bit just because I was just like, I just want to make it, the light's off right now, but to make sure, to really make sure that this is like the bog standard stuff is a-okay. Y'all put the works in on this, so I spend a bit of money on that. And as far as I know, it's running fine now, knock on wood. But yeah. So I don't know what's going on there. I hate, you know, fucking... I hate just the whole, like, cars being the sole mode of transportation we have here. But sometimes I wish I was a car guy, not just because I like me a good racing movie, but similarly, because that way, at the very least, I could, like, peek at my car. I could take a little look-see, and, like, even if I'm like, oh, I can't fix this, I can still be like, oh, alright, that's what's wrong. I got an idea. Because, I mean, fucking, my old car, which was, like, heavily used before I got it, and, like, I would've, like, and to a degree, like, I had some sentimental attachment to, so I almost wish I could have kept it. But it was breaking down, which is, like, another reason to be like, oh, I wish I was a car guy so I could work on this. that, like, at one point, I don't know if I talked about this on stream at any point before I got rid of it, but at one point, right, the check engine light in that car came on and it didn't go off. And when I took it to a mechanic friend to be like, hey, what's going on here, they're like, oh, your sensor's broken. And I'm like, what? And they're like, so the thing that will tell you whether or not to check your engine, the thing checking your engine, that's what's busted. So the car's running fine, but that light's just going to be on because fucking because the thing that's broken is the thing that checks it, and that's what it's saying. Kind of a false signal here. Be like, well, that's great. So that was just true for years for me, and I prefer not to be the truth again, ever. Just so that way I can actually. I would love it if check engine meant, like, you know, oh hey, something is happening here. Maybe do something about it. As opposed to just like, I don't know. You do whatever you want. Lord. You know what I used to do? I guess I should say what I used to take. I don't know. It feels weird because it almost is like the good drugs. But I think back in high school, like specifically, I used to take melatonin to help me sleep. And I think I stopped that because I'm already pretty low energy, right? I mean, I checked with my doctor. My doctor was like, no, this isn't messing you up or anything. You should be good to power on, even if you're taking some melatonin. But I don't know. It's weird because taking melatonin to sleep, I wish it worked just like an on and off switch, you know? Take melatonin to sleep, drink caffeine to wake up. You know, turn the engine on and off, yada yada yada. But I know that's not how it works, and I really am just like, you can't just have the best of both worlds. So, I don't know. To a degree, we should kind of do this sequentially. You know, we'll draw. I was gonna say I kind of want to move on. I want to do the fountain first, but I don't know. Let me draw my funny little guys how I prefer. We'll draw this as Walt. Walt will be down here. Oh Lord. This is not... Okay. Before we draw Walt, we will add a circle to this part of the drawing. So that way I'm working from a solid foundation. That should be good. Just a bit of a stricter guideline. Helps out here and there. I don't want it to be blue. Abba-dee-abba-die. I want the country to be blue. Okay, that's the one I get. The one I get. Because it's more of an art joke. What was I thinking of? It's weird. I talked about this before, but I feel like one reason I'm not really drawn to color is because I feel like with color, there's not really, like, when you're doing like painterly shit with color, is there really an upper limit to what you can do in terms of trying to make something look like realistic or what have you? You know what I'm saying? Like, granted, you don't have to go for realism. You don't have to go to realism as a style, but I don't know. That's where my mind goes to, and it's kind of why I stick to working in like black and white. Because there are neat and fun little tricks you can do when you're doing like monochrome shit in order to make something look realistic. And I feel, you know, outlines, yeah, it's a very binary choice. I don't have to worry about mixing every shade of pink or what have you in order to make the painting look as good as possible. So that's always the big thing that stands in the way of me doing pure color shit. I prefer to do good old outline, color it on in. If you catch my feeling. If you catch my cold, don't catch my cold. Unless you're looking for a, you know, sick day. I don't think I might have. I'm not sure because it's so weird. I don't like try. Like if someone's like, "Oh no, I have the flu," I'm not just like, "Oh my gosh, let me take off of work." No, but I definitely have stopped caring about that because I have so rarely taken sick days since I've joined the workforce, like at all, that the idea of being sick and getting to take off of work for that, I'm just like, well, that would be a new thing. It's like I'd be okay with that just because I haven't done it before. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I've never come across someone who has had, like, a cold or something and have had a reason why I can't call out of work. I'm just like, no, it's just business as usual. So who cares if I get sick? And that doesn't just go for my current job. That goes for any job I've had. I've definitely been across multiple people who have been like, "Oh, I'm sick," and I was just like, "Okay." I think at the end of the day, it's mostly just because, thank goodness, I have a decently strong immune system. So even if I were to come down with a cold, I'm like, well, this will be gone like tomorrow. So call out of work today. Oh my goodness. I will say one thing. Speaking of calling out, I don't know, maybe we end stream early. I don't know. I want to do art and stuff. But my bed is calling me, man. It is good to sleep. I've definitely said on stream before, I think it should be a crime to get people out of their cozy beds. I thought of that one day in my cozy bed, and I was like, I'm not even giving that deeper thought. I don't care about the logistics of what that kind of, like, law would mean. I just want it to be highly discouraged to rouse someone from their comfy bed. I think you should need extenuating circumstances, not have it be an everyday occurrence. Do you think if that was a thing, people would start having like people would be coveting like the coziest of beds? You know what I mean? Like, in order of importance, you can't wake, if you can't wake someone from their cozy bed, then obviously the less cozy a bed is, the more likely you are to, the more allowed you are to wake them. So, fucking IMO, that's me. That just makes me think of the Dragon Ball movie, the one with Beerus, Battle of Gods. Because in that one, Vegeta's whole, like, flashback to why he even knows about Beerus at all. Because Beerus is not, like... Beerus isn't, like, a Kai or Frieza, you know, which, for, I guess, anyone who doesn't watch Dragon Ball has no context for that. But Beerus, despite his wildly important and a high-standing role in galactic hierarchy, he's not, like, very publicly known to a lot of people. And the only reason Vegeta, resident spaceman, knows him at all is because apparently he had the Saiyans go get him the coziest pillow, but then the king, Vegeta's father, tried to keep the actual coziest for himself, and then that went pretty badly. For Vegeta, for both Vegeta, that's another thing. People who don't watch Dragon Ball, I guess y'all can decide whether or not this was lazy or not lazy. But yeah, much like how I guess every Hyrulean princess is named Zelda, every first son of the royal family in Dragon Ball is named Vegeta. Bring out the parrot, you got it. Let's see. I want to bring out Toucanon. He is going to make me feel safe. Thank you, Paula. I hope you're doing well. Paula, you know stuff about Dragon Ball, right? You know how everyone's named Vegeta? It's just Vegeta all the way down. This could be very useful for Vegeta. My son, the planet, or me? Yes! I hate smartasses. There have been many a Vegeta. It's also weird, because at this point, canonically, even though he's only been in one episode, it was a thing from, you know, I believe it was penned by Toriyama and referenced, like it is considered canon. But Vegeta has a currently alive brother. That brother's name is Tobble. So assuming that the specific royal tradition of the Saiyans is to name their eldest son Vegeta, with the assumption being that he will be the one to ascend to the throne. I wonder if there are any other traditions for naming consequent, you know, on more further children. Or that's probably a thing in real life, isn't it? Where families have, like, protocols for naming kids in order. What was I thinking of? It's not a comedy bit. I forget from who. But it was talking about how many kids old, like, families in pioneer times would have. I don't mean to steal another comedian's bit. I'm just saying. The point was, you would have a dozen kids in pioneer times because you would lose 6 of them, and then you would have 6 kids. And now people these days are like, oh yeah, we have 9 kids, very traditional. It's like, no. The tradition would be to lose fucking 4 of them and have 5 kids. No one has 9 kids. Oh my lord. I don't mean to drag up memories for anyone, but does anyone remember fucking John and Kate plus 8? That's something my family used to watch a lot. I don't know how healthy that family was in relation to, you know, other reality TV shows, but I never watched it. My family, that was on my home television a lot, largely just because my family was watching it. I definitely, listen, I'm not gonna pretend like I didn't myself partake in some daytime television when my family had it on. I'm not saying I'm above that, but when I did get control of the TV specifically, I'd be putting on cartoons. So, which I feel like most people can gather from my interests and what have you, but like, I'd have fun watching different daytime television shows with my family, but by myself, it was cartoons all the way down. Man, tongues are weird. Y'all ever think about how the tongue don't have bones? I'm just saying. Okay, listen. I know that's I know. But, listen. Specifically, what I'm talking about, and I've thought about this before. Compare us, the humans, to your humble octopi, right? Humans have like 4 limbs and 20 digits, okay? All of those got bones in them. Alright, you following me? The octopi, who many have commented has the, has a similar intelligence level of like a human child, they have 8 limbs and no bones. And I feel like we're just kind of used to limbs having bones, given that that's all any human's ever known, is boned limbs. But the tongue, I know how this sounds, but listen, fucking, I don't know, this is where my brain's taking me right now. I'm just saying, we don't know what it's like not to have bones in the things we're gesticulating all the time, using to move and grab stuff with, right? But otherwise, that's all the octopi know. The octopi only know no bones with the grabby bits. The tongue on the human is maybe the closest we understand to what it's like to being an octopus. And conversely, in the same area, an octopus's only bone is its beak. So, what was I thinking? So, an octopi's closest thing to knowing what it's like to have, to having boned parts is also its mouth. Did I lose? I think only Paul is here, so aside from them, have I lost like people who weren't here have unfollowed? I'm just thinking. Okay, wait, hear me out. It goes a layer deeper. This is legitimately things I think about. Not on drugs. Just on the day-to-day. Okay? Because remember how I was talking about being a car boy? Being a guy who knows a thing or two about cars. Cars are made so that humans can operate them, right? And everyone out there right now is like, yeah, duh, of course. How else would you design it? Not on drugs? Sub, unfollow. Well, I'm saying I'm not on drugs when I think about these normally. I'm not gonna guarantee anything right now, but anyway, what was the thing? Marijuana is legal in Jersey. Anyway. But it's like, yeah, cars are obviously meant to be operated by humans, right? How else would you design them? But like, everyone likes to be like, what about like, people like to fantasize about intelligent life amongst the stars, aliens, what have you. If we had alien friends, or just any other species as a friend, as an intelligent friend, I'm sorry, dogs. Any other intelligent species as companions, I have seen parts of that movie, Paula, legitimately. Not all of it. Lightning McQueen is a different species, and they don't operate vehicles for the most part, so I won't include them here. The cars, from Cars, that is. Um, but if we were to find companionship in another intelligent species, right? They would not be able to operate our vehicles, accompanying us to places. It is all, in all likelihood, unless they're another like species of ape or what have you, that their limbs would make it physically impossible for them to like drive you home when you're coming back from the bar or whatever. And for some people that's going to be like, well, why even make the alien friends then? But I don't know, it's interesting because, okay, again, going back to an earthly example, an octopi, again, with intelligence compared to that of a human child, okay? It's hard for me to even say if one of those, given sufficient intelligence, would be able to operate a vehicle, even though by all accounts its limbs are more versatile and malleable than a human limb. And the reason is because with like pedals are made so that you can put your foot down on it, which is only possible because feet have those like feet and legs have the solid structures both weighing them down and supporting them, so that, you know, so that you can, you know, fix your foot down on the pedal. It probably would be pretty hard for an octopus to like stiffen one of its legs for extended periods of time, thus making the operation of a motor vehicle by an octopus wildly unlikely. And like, I keep just saying cars, but for the most part, in all like major vehicles for humans, like they follow that design scheme with like pedals and a wheel, which again only operate because of like the inherent bony structure and placement of human legs and arms. And that's wild to think about. I'm sure some people are like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. But, I don't know. I think it can kind of be interesting to realize that humans are adjusted to things that are, like, solely, specifically for humans. And, you know, we've made that a large part of our society. I don't know, like, I feel like people are legitimately just be like, this is, why are you talking about this? But, because when I'm talking about, like, quote-unquote inherent human stuff, I feel like the classic cheesy answer is, like, emotions. The heart. Mathematics. But meanwhile, I'm just like, no. Smart octopus can't drive a car. And that's just, you know, something we've done. And turning back to fiction specifically, it's interesting because a lot of the times when they try to depict aliens, like on Star Trek or what have you, because obviously Star Trek typically just painted people a certain color, and then they're like, boom, alien. But like, you don't realize how similar that really ends up making them to humans when you realize it's like, oh yeah, all their like design schemes are the same, or like people can use those alien vehicles of theirs because it's similar enough at least that the person's able to operate it. When, like, you know, chances are probably not. It would probably be designed comfortably and, you know, only functionably for one certain species. Humans, almost certainly not on the list. If we're talking about, like, aliens or what have you. But again, I don't want it to just boil down to me thinking like, you know, to me having it seeming like I'm just having the thought, oh my gosh, dude, some animals and or maybe aliens don't have legs. It's like, yeah, everyone knows what a snail is. How... You know, I've talked before about, like, just I always say talked. Nice meat. I always say talked, right? But it's really rambling, especially with subjects like this. But I've said at least before that, like, the human compulsion and system of classifying living things around us in different, like, branches and categories isn't necessary. Like, nature doesn't follow that. It don't care. So there are plenty of things that kind of break the system. And with that in mind, how similar are snails and slugs? I've never really looked into it. Everyone knows they're pretty similar. But, like, for example, are slugs truly just snails without shells? Like, is it basically just that? One makes shells, one doesn't? Well, that's what we'll know. Because see, I feel like the difference I'm talking about right now isn't just like, oh, one's wearing a shell, one isn't. Because what you don't realize is that, like, that makes them similar. That would make them, like, we call them entirely different things, but that's just the same species at that point, right? It's just one that has this funny little thing it does and one doesn't. I'm saying, if I want to do a kidney transplant on if I want to give a snail a new kidney, can a slug be the donor? Can a slug own that kidney? Are they able to communicate with each other as much as they're able to communicate with their own species? You know, that kind of shit. I'm not sure if slugs have or need kidneys. No, probably not. But that was more to get across my point of just, like, whether or not their internal structure and what have you is the same. Internal structure, layout, yada yada yada. Also, let me remember. Okay, yeah. Playlist looping. No Beyonce for chat tonight. I did not know they were mollusks. Like regular slugs and snails? You didn't realize we're mollusks? Well, that's the other part of this meat, right? That doesn't surprise me, but I wouldn't have been able to tell you that. Like, if someone was like, quickly, what are land slugs and snails? What category are they in? I'd be like, I don't. The category of slug and snail. I'm not caught up on that in terms of study. I absolutely say meat, but it doesn't. I mean, fucking. I feel like there's more species of sea snail than land snail. And some people might be like, well, duh, the sea is big. But, like, fucking, that it's a wildly, they're, they live in wildly different places, but they look basically the same, and they're called the same thing, so. Well, I meant more animal classification in general. And I feel like one reason that interests me, besides, like, having been into Pokemon and knowing all the different types of Pokemon, so I'm just like, oh yeah, you can do that for real animals. Besides that, quick water break. Besides that, you know, like, what are the levels of there? Because when you go into Wikipedia, and you look up a certain type of animal, they will literally go like down the list of being like, this is the family, this is the species, yada yada, and there are more of those categories than I thought. So it's made in the past, seeing how many qualifiers there are to, like, you know, the specific type of animal the instance specimen of animal we're dealing with on any given basis. Maybe been like, man, I don't know half of these or the difference between them. And I'm kind of curious. Lord. I was gonna be like, did I make Walt do the chopper face? But not only is the chopper face a different way, it's more like this. No. Big lip, big frown. Round that out a bit. It's like, this is the mouth, to be clear. I'm not just drawing a spooky ghost here. Even though it would make a decently spooky ghost. And then you do a nose all the way up here, and then the eyes are almost below the nose. And then, yeah. I'm gonna do something that stream won't be able to appreciate, and I'm sorry about that. But I feel like I've drawn some... I feel like this is an Amazing World of Gumball image now. More than, like, a drawing from that more than Chopper. I want to see how close I got. Also, this is like... Chopper's old body was far more cubular in One Piece. So it was kind of like that. This is not close at all. I have to look up the image though. Chopper screaming, which, like, relatable. Chopper screaming. Oh wow, I wasn't close at all. I mean, I was as close as, like, I drew a screaming face. Because the Chopper face is more like that. And then the eyes aren't round, they're almost all squinty. One is just straight up next to the nose. And then the mouth has a lot of three-dimensionality to it, admittedly. And then, of course, the spit. I forgot the spit, and that's one of, like, the whole... That's one of the... just... Okay. I need to... Well, that's where that character is from. Yeah, yeah, this is more Peter Griffin down here. I need to stop for a minute. Okay? I need to... 'Cause... To be clear, like, I didn't want it to make it like a gimmick of the stream, but you can't post that with what I'm about to say. I was gonna be like, just before, in case you haven't picked up on it, I took an edible before stream, right? Because I took a bite of an edible, okay, and I'm not like a lightweight, but it's kicking in a little bit. And I'm like, okay, that's good. But it just occurred to me that on top of all the other stupid things I was talking about on stream, I just started drawing a wall of screaming faces. Like... And there's a purpose behind it. Like, there's a reason, but it's so just insane that happened by circumstance. I had to stop and laugh about it. What was I thinking of? I feel bad. I can't talk about, like, the specific creator's name. But in one of Jacksepticeye's videos where he's... Art streams are great. It's just funny because this is why I'm telling the story. I'm getting back to what I was gonna say. In one of the videos where he's showing off TikToks, he shows a few from one specific creator, and during one of them, it's one of the people who have taken up doing skits where they're playing all the parts. So during one of them, their friend, it's like, what's wrong with him? Oh, he took an edible, and it's like, oh, that's too bad. I hope he's doing okay. I was like, this guy is just sitting really low on the couch. One of them's like, I don't know, he drew this, and it's a drawing of a stick figure walking up some stairs to a place labeled hell. And then they take like a 5-minute break to talk about what that drawing means. And it's a very funny little skit that just is insane for a little bit, right? But that's why I was laughing so hard, because it's just I took a bite of some, and then it's just like, oh, fucking, what did he do after he took an edible? Oh, he drew a wall of screaming faces. Well, that's interesting. That's kind of funny. I wonder what he's trying to express there. You know? Which is also why I was prefacing the whole octopi conversation. Because again, it is legitimately a thing I've thought about before. The logistics of other animals operating our motor vehicles. I've been like, well, what has to happen for that to become a possibility? But I was like, oh Lord, I can't get a little high and start talking like that. Because I talk like that normally. Well, then it makes it seem like it's for a reason, when it's just how my brain works. I was about to say that, no lie. I was about to be like, because this isn't Octodad as much as it's fucking like penguins from Madagascar. But, in a way, 2 to 3 octopuses would have a better time operating a human motor vehicle than one would, even though it can be argued one large octopus has more than enough limbs and what have you to operate a motor vehicle. Having 2 to work the pedals and what have you would probably end up making it more possible for an octopus to work a car than just the one. Even though, again, for all intents and purposes, kind of like Meat has pointed out with Octodad, what's he thinking of? One large octopus can kind of occupy the shape of a human man. I mean, fuck, that's really Squidward's whole deal, but Squidward has 6 limbs, right? Yeah, he does. I was literally talking about Stefan Hillenberg last stream. What do you think? Like one large octopus, please. What do you think? I'm trying to think of how to phrase this. I don't know how many people have thought about what it took to make SpongeBob, but what do you think the process was to deciding that Squidward, who already squids should have 10 tentacles, 10 tickles, should only have 6 tentacles? And the reason I bring it up is because bottom half, Squidward, 2 of his limbs make up 1 leg each, you know what I mean? So they've already established that Squidward is clumping. That's an awful word for this, but he's grouping limbs together so that way he can, basically be the silhouette and functions of a person, but not go that extra mile to give him 2 more for his arms, would it have truly been so hard to, you know, give Squidward's arms the same treatment as his legs, so that way he can actually have an anatomically correct 8 tentacles? At what point was that just decided wouldn't be a thing? Because I feel like there's no way in the development of the show, Stefan Hillenburg himself or someone on the crew didn't point out the specific number of limbs that Squidward has. I would argue that most of the time, number of limbs, unless you're using fucking AI, is a very conscious thing in art, in depicting any creature of any kind. And I mean, it's not, we can't even go at the whole thing of like, well, Squidward lost his tentacles. Because there are later, like granted, decently later episodes of SpongeBob. I mean, fucking there's Squilliam. That's in like Primes. That's in original SpongeBob. And he's, you know, basically a carbon copy. They go to us. I forgot this too. Because there's one episode of SpongeBob later down the line where Squidward goes to like a secret club for squids, and all the squids looked decently similar to Squidward, without me even realizing that besides Squilliam, there's an entire part. I'm having a real-time hard. I can't believe I just said real-time hard. Anyway, I'm having a real hard time drawing this little glove doodad right here, this glove sleeve. Anyway. I completely forgot that even in, like, the earlier... I'm making it too big, that's my problem. In the earlier seasons of SpongeBob, that not only was there Squilliam, but there was, like, a whole episode where he went to a town of squids. All similar enough to him that we definitely know they only had 6 tentacles. And that, like, they didn't all lose all their tentacles. That would be ridiculous. Like, we've already gotten the whole, you know, Bikini Bottom was a nuclear test site sort of deal. We've already gotten that, right? I'm not about to let them start being like, and also every every squid that appears in SpongeBob is an amputee. Like, in-universe amputee. I mean, that's definitely not a thing. Just because I feel like one of the main bits of comedy in SpongeBob is that legitimately 2 tentacles and 8 arms apparently. Well, that's... Yeah. I thought, for some reason, I just thought you meant octopuses. And I thought they were categorizing them differently. But yeah, because if you see... I mean, I've mostly seen from, like, art of squids. But let me look up a squid. I'm gonna look up a squid picture right now. Because in a lot of ways, squids almost look like, you know... Yeah, there's one right here. Squid, the Australian Museum. But squids almost just look like octopuses with 2 ribbons attached to them. You know? So... you have the tentacles, which, like, octopi share, then you have arms. Regardless, Squidward does not have enough of them, no matter what he is. Whether or not his name is ironic and he is actually just an octopus, or he is truly a squid. But yeah, I feel like some of the main comedy of SpongeBob, in part, comes from the fact that most of the main cast in actual nature can regrow limbs. And as such, not only is it a funny cartoon bit when we dismember them, but then there is an actual reason for them to be A-okay next time, like in the next second. I feel like a decent amount of time in those first 5 seasons of SpongeBob were dedicated to discovering that, like, SpongeBob is essentially invincible to a decent amount. because you have that one. What was I thinking of? You have that one episode with Flats where he's worried about getting beat up, only to then realize, oh wait, physical trauma does no harm. Brute force inflicts no harm upon my sponge body. And then there's that whole part with the hash-slinging slasher, as Squidward tells the story, where SpongeBob shows off that he is completely okay with removing his own arms. You mean like this? Or what about this? But maybe like this? Or what about this? Oh, I am thirsty. That's looking okay so far. I was about to say, I was like, is the playlist break? There is no more music. You know, I think it's interesting. Another thing, I feel like, I'd asked Stefan Hillenberg about the development of that show. Like, how much of the comedy was on purpose built around the idea that SpongeBob can just grow his limbs back? Because fun fact, in stuff like Epic Mickey, Oswald being to detach his limbs, his appendages, is called out as a specific ability of his. Because, I mean, there was a decent amount of time, even in the original Oswald shorts, where one of the jokes would be him removing his own foot and kissing it. You know, going off the idea that rabbit's feet are lucky charms. But I'll never get a hold of me lucky charms. My Irish accent is a disgrace. And I will be the first person to tell you that. Oh lord. Every now and then, I do not often have trouble drawing limbs, but every now and then, well, not limbs, hands specifically, because, you know, a lot of people love to talk about how hard hands are to draw. I don't tend to have the biggest problem with them most of the time. Every now and then, though, especially when it comes to cartoony, noodly fingers and what have you. That's why I just model them once. Well, yeah, but then you have to deal with math. You can 3D model all you want. Meat. But I don't feel like doing math ever again in my life. Our equipment. Paula! Shut up! Why? I don't even know why you're saying that right now, you know? I don't know why any amount, why my thirst would be of any interest to anyone. There's no reason that me drinking a decent, regular amounts of water I don't know why that would be suspicious or noteworthy. You know, I'm drinking normal amounts, completely normal, regular amounts of water. You drink water. Water is good. Here's the thing. I have started drinking way more water in my day-to-day, right? Genuinely. Like, I've said this before to people in my meat life, my real life, as you will. Like, yeah, I drink a lot of V8 energy drinks, but it's basically just that and water all day, right? I feel like I would legitimately have to be just drinking water all the time when I'm not actively like breathing or putting anything else in my mouth to meet the kind of requirements doctors say is healthy. You know? Because I feel like every time I see an update, probably not an update, but you get what I mean. Some kind of reminder about how much water a human should drink in a 24-hour basis. I feel like every time I see that, it goes up. And I'm just like, there's no way that's true at this point, right? Like, there's a point. Just drink a bit more water. Just keep drinking more water. I know the more likely reason that they, like, reprint a lot of those stories, as I've talked before, about, like, just health foods and diets and what have you just always being changed. I'm sure there's definitely a more, like, you know, normal reason that they keep getting reprinted, which is probably just because they want to make sure they keep selling journals and books and what have you. But I almost feel like they keep changing different health standards because people still die. You know what I mean? Like, the doctors will pick someone to feed and give water to for their entire natural life. And, like, they do keep living longer, so that's why they keep updating it. But they're looking for the amount that will make you immortal. You know? It's like, well, we got closer this time, guys, but it turns out you should probably eat more than 12 apples in a single day. Because this person was only eating 12 and they still died. So, we're gonna keep going, but more than 12, definitely. It's like, I know we used to say you should drink a gallon of water every day. We're starting to think 2 gallons. Because our last subject, they got up there and they lived longer, still died. They still died, but they lived longer, so more water. Oh no, stream. Oh no, stream. Have they decided that I'm done? Oh, no, it's looking okay. I probably shouldn't bring this up. Oh, no. Oh, I am dropping frames. Is this like a natural sign from the cosmos to end? If stream crashes, I'm just gonna... Whoa, oh! I was about to hit end. I definitely shouldn't bring this up as I'm streaming. I'm giving it a second. We're doing a little coin flip here. Kid should not appreciate that. What, me bringing up OBS? Giving it, it's looking good. If I say that, is it gonna... to a degree, it is legitimately funny to me when this happens. Just because I feel like it's specifically when I'm like, I'm gonna give up, I'm not going to give up, that it chooses, you know, to get crazy. Again, back to classic SpongeBob. The bus gag. Okay, I think we're good. Are we live? Fresh? We good? Quick, well, no one's looking. More water. You can... Okay. Okay. Also, I mean, there's not fucking... hey, let me show you that right now. This is the secret design on the back of Walt and Willie's little sailor cape. Ready? And then the head's up here. Like it is basically just a handkerchief hanging on their back. I know I color these black, but I mean for all intents and purposes, the whole cape. I actually don't know what the little handkerchiefs, like the full design of them in the Navy, but for these guys, I'm pretty confident in saying it's literally just a handkerchief like that looks like this, and then they tie it around their neck. Damn it, it's kind of been a loosey-goosey stream, and I'm kind of here for it. And not to distract, but I do wanna see Navy handkerchief. Oh, I put in Navy handkerchief. USA Navy neckerchief. What's the difference between the handkerchief and the neckerchief? Why would there even be a difference? Odd. Oh, beans. It's just... People back in the day they just didn't have anything. You can tell a lot of people in older times, just back in those good old 1800s, turns out they didn't have it harder. Because fucking they could take the time to distinguish between handkerchief and neckerchief. And I definitely can't be. I got too much going on to stop and be like, is that a handkerchief or a neckerchief? No one can tell. Word. I remember. What was I thinking of? I forget what piece of media I learned this from. But you know how you'll see, like in like etiquette classes, whether they be for a bit on a show or like real. You know the like super fancy way they set, not super fancy, but decently fancy way they'll set up like a dining area with your plate in the middle, several utensils extending out to the side, and then like one at the top. You know what you know what I'm talking about? I learned that for the most part, you're just working your way in. Like it's not necessarily horribly complicated where there's like game combos. It's like they bring out the soup and you take the first small spoon on the outside and use that for the soup. I remember seeing that. I could be completely wrong. Those rules as a kid. I mean, you don't. You want to know the funny thing? Fucking people would used to be like, are you expecting the queen to come over? When like people wouldn't know their like super proper manners and everything. They wouldn't be 100% polite. But now there's not even a queen anymore. So at that point, like, I'm not saying it's not. I think having super elaborate setups for the dining in a super fancy environment, yeah, that adds to it for sure. But for your regular day eating, for going to fucking Freddy Fazbear's Pizza and eating the crummy salad they serve there, anyone who pretends like those dining instructions were made for that kind of place, they're lying to themselves. And I don't, to be clear, I feel like we're just talking about cartoons here, You know, the overly fancy person who would be so as a joke. I'm pretty sure people who practice etiquette as a tradition and almost like performative thing to do with others, they know we do this at special events and then just fucking eat pizza with their bare hands like a normal person, you know, on our when we're just hanging out, right? The only people who I think actually suggest to practice those kinds of manners 100% of the time, I think those only exist in cartoons. And like, I feel like we live in a crazy world now where you can't always say that, but I'm pretty confident in saying that. Because again, I think the people who tend to like, outside of like actual British aristocrats that are still around. Well, no, I was going to say kind of the opposite. I mean, I think the aristocrats kind of count in what you're saying, even if it's a little outdated. But from what I've seen on like social media and shows, and I mean, that's not necessarily trustworthy, but just hold on a second, let me cook a little bit, okay? It's like, from what I've seen, based on shows who like learn this kind of stuff, and different people who will post online about it, like people who will teach others etiquette and or practice etiquette, they tend to be just like, you know, decently friendly nerds who are just like, I love Downton Abbey. You know, they're just like, yeah, I'm really into this, like building Gundams or whatever. It is not necessarily them being just like, our tradition. That's why I'm saying I'm kind of relegating this to cartoons and everything. Because in real life, I think the kind of people who can teach you that stuff would also be the kind of people to remind you that they used to eat on lead plates and would die because of the lead. You know, they are in as likely a breath to remind you how cool some little traditions are as they are to say like, yeah, and also the people practicing them, morons. They couldn't have been dumber. This was a real piece of like really cool culture from this time period. Also, the people who did it, not the smartest bunch. Literally have lightning powers. Yeah, so our roleplay group, we came across a body in the woods, and my friend tried to cast healing on it, but I knew that wasn't work because the head was off. Yeah, well, that's what I'm trying to stress, right? Because you said LARPing, and like kind of, but I feel like LARPing is kind of seen and referred to in a negative light, whereas I think anyone who's like, yeah, there's this one restaurant me and my friends go to, and we all have proper table manners there as a fun little event and get together, you know? Same vein, kind of, but it's a thing to do. It's hard to make friends, you know? Online dating is horrible. I saw a sign for like a proper eating club or whatever, so I decided to go for it. Don't judge me. Oh my goodness. Okay. If y'all could grant me this one thing, I think it's gonna be a quick 90-minute stream. I had fun. I'm legitimately just kind of wiped from the day. More than anything else, I'm just like, oh. My bed is singing to me. Legitimately, I think that is the only problem with having your, like, office be your um, bedroom as well. I love that setup when you have enough room for it in one area, right? The only problem with it is that, like, if you have it set up like me, my bed is directly behind me as we are, as we're doing this. And with each minute, it's just like, hey, nap. You know what I'm talking about? This is gonna be so nerdy. This is going to be so nerdy. But I have to say it. This, and I don't know if anyone else feels this with like beds when you're tired. I actually think it's probably the closest, like, accurate description to like Frodo and the Ring. Also, Zayd is streaming. I want to see how long. Oh, Zayd's been streaming for 2 hours. I mean, 7 hours. We're gonna go with Nicole if that's all right with y'all. Unironically, because I know this is more weird thoughts. I'm sorry. Unironically, like, the whole point of like the Lord of the Rings, at least from like Frodo's perspective, it's like an endurance test, right? And with your comfy bed right next to you, it's the same thing, where it's both pulling you in and making you more tired. I know that, again, this is why I shouldn't have edibles before stream, because when I'm not on edibles, I say this stuff, and it's just like, oh yeah, that's silly. But you take even a little edibles, and it's just like, oh my goodness, they're kicking it. And it's not. These edibles aren't shit. Should, because you got work done and went to bed early, which is great. Yeah. But again, I legitimately feel like the reason I don't make it a habit is not necessarily because I get loopy, but because then I feel like I blame every weird thing. The fact I took even the smallest bite. But it's fun. I hope you guys had a good shorter stream today. I will be back in 2 weeks, hopefully very rested. Hopefully, no more nerves. And we'll probably be doing some games of art then. So I hope to see you there. Bye.